Did you know that the name of the first woman explicitly associated with polygamy in the Bible carries a prophetic meaning that echoes through the generations? Adah, wife of the cruel and vengeful Lamech, is not just a minor character in an ancient narrative. She is a key piece in the intricate puzzle of Cain's lineage, the first murder in human history. Adah represents much more than a forgotten name in the pages of the Bible. She is a symbol of personal tragedy set within a broader cultural context of alienation from God. Her husband, Lamech, was a man of corrupt lineage, marked by violence and disregard for divine laws. Adah, his first wife, lived in a world where justice and mercy were rare. Her seemingly simple story hides a profound secret: how a man's choices can shape the destiny and identity of his wives, creating a legacy of pain that extends across generations. To understand Adah's true story, we must first locate the corrupt genealogy that surrounded her. Her life was marked by a series of choices that led her down a path of suffering and separation from God. We will see that her name, Adah, symbolizes a legacy of pain that would begin in her life and spread through the ages. What Adah experienced in her life is a reflection of how a godless culture can lead to destruction and loss. As we delve deeper into Adah's life, we will unravel the layers of her story, revealing how she became a symbol of a culture that turned away from God. We will understand how her choices and her husband's choices shaped not only their lives, but also the fate of future generations. We will explore the corrupt genealogy that surrounded her and see how it influenced the trajectory of her life. We will turn to the biblical texts and analyze the scriptures that speak of Adah so that we can understand the context and deeper meaning of her story. In Genesis 4 verses 19 to 20, we are introduced to a woman whose actions and destiny were deeply shaped by the rebellion and corruption of her time. Adah, the first of Lamech's two wives, lived in a world where disobedience to God was institutionalized. Lamech, the sixth descendant of Cain's lineage, was the man who broke with the divine model of marriage. While God had established the union between a man and a woman as the basis of human society, Lamech defied this order by taking two wives for himself. The biblical text is clear and direct, and Lamech took two wives for himself. The name of one was Adah, and the name of the other, Zillah. This act of rebellion was a milestone in human history, symbolizing a deliberate departure from the divine will. Adah, therefore, was not just the wife of a powerful man. She was a living symbol of the corruption that was spreading throughout society. Her life was intertwined with the history of a lineage marked by violence and iniquity. To truly understand Adah, we need to go beyond what she did. We need to delve into the deep mystery surrounding her name and what it reveals about the values of that society. Adah is not just a secondary character. She is a key to unlocking the secrets of an era where rebellion against God was the norm. Her name carries a meaning that transcends her own existence, pointing to a legacy of pain and suffering that span generations. To understand Adah, we need to explore what her name symbolizes and how it reflected the values of a society that had turned away from God. Adah, Lamech's first wife, bears a name that at first glance seems contradictory amid the chaos and violence of her time. In Hebrew, Adah means ornament, beauty, or adornment. This name, which evokes the idea of something beautiful and decorative, takes on a new dimension when associated with Adah's life. In a culture that was turning away from God, Adah represents a powerful irony. While her name suggests beauty and aesthetics, her reality was marked by violence and rebellion. Lamech, the man who chose her, was known for his cruelty and disobedience to divine laws. By taking two wives, he openly defied the model of marriage established by God. The choice of Adah, with her name that values the exterior, reflects a society that sought superficial beauty and dark mystery, to the detriment of substance and holiness. Alongside Adah, Zillah, whose name means shadow, completes the picture of a distorted family. While Adah symbolizes the pursuit of beauty as an end in itself, Zillah represents the constant presence of a shadow, a dark mystery that permeates the lives of those who stray from God. Adah, therefore, becomes a symbol of the valorization of the exterior of appearance to the detriment of spiritual essence. Her life, marked by rebellion and violence, reflects a deeply distorted family structure. Lamech sought in his relationships what was superficially beautiful and mysteriously dark, ignoring the true substance of human connections. Adah's legacy, however, was not limited to her identity as an ornament. Her choices and the consequences of her life extended to the children she bore in this environment of violence and rebellion. It is necessary to explore closely how her actions shaped the fate of her descendants, perpetuating a legacy of pain and suffering that spread across generations. Adah's life, marked by the irony of her name, bore fruit that, although remarkable, carries a deep weight of tragedy. Adah was the mother of Jabal and Jubal, whose lives left a lasting legacy in human history. Jabal, described as the father of those who dwell in tents and have cattle, and Jubal, the father of all who play the harp and flute, represent monumental cultural and civilizational innovations. Their contributions created new horizons for humanity, showing how human ingenuity can flourish even on spiritually impoverished soil. However, the complexity of this legacy is undeniable. These innovations arose in a family context marked by polygamy, violence, and a profound estrangement from God. Adah and her sons were part of a corrupt lineage, where rebellion and disobedience to divine laws were the norm. The tragedy lies in the fact that remarkable gifts and cultural advances were given to humanity through this tainted lineage. The brilliance of Jabal and Jubal, while admirable, is a painful reminder of how human talent can flourish even in the midst of spiritual corruption. This story of Adah and her sons raises a crucial question about the relationship between culture, talent, and separation from God. It makes us reflect on how the pursuit of innovation and beauty can become empty and superficial when disconnected from true spiritual essence. It is a reflection that finds its perfect counterpoint in another lineage, where obedience and closeness to God shaped a different but equally meaningful path. As we explore Adah's life and legacy, we reach the climax of a narrative that reveals a deep and contrasting connection. Adah, wife of Lamech, mother of Jabal and Jubal, is part of the lineage of Cain, marked by rebellion and distance from God. Her cultural legacy, though remarkable, is rooted in an impoverished spiritual land. Jabal and Jubal brought innovations that transformed society, but these achievements were accomplished outside of God's presence and guidance. In contrast, we find the lineage of Seth, who began to call upon the name of the Lord. Genesis 4 verse 26. While the sons of Adah developed material culture, breeding animals, and inventing music, the descendants of Seth built an identity deeply rooted in faith and divine obedience. This contrast illustrates the divergence between a civilization that seeks progress apart from God and a people who build their identity around Him. Adah represents the flourishing of a talented, creative, but spiritually orphaned humanity. Her achievements, though impressive, lack the foundation of true worship. She is the symbolic mother of a culture that exalts man, valuing outward beauty and talent, but ignoring the spiritual essence. Adah's legacy challenges us to reflect on the lineage we are nurturing in our own lives. Are we seeking only progress and external beauty, or are we building on the foundation of faith? The choice between these two paths is crucial, as it determines not only what we achieve, but who we really are and where we are going. Adah's story invites us to reflect deeply on the modern temptations to value ornament over essence. In an age where the perfect image on social media is valued more than true integrity, We need to ask ourselves, have you been seeking to build a life that is only aesthetically pleasing, like the name Adah, but lacks a solid spiritual foundation? The pressure for a flawless image, the cult of appearance, and the danger of developing gifts and talents in a heart distant from God are realities that many face. Jabal and Jubal, Adah's sons, were innovators in their fields, but their achievements were not rooted in faith. They represent the tragedy of a humanity that seeks progress and beauty without divine guidance. However, there is hope. God calls us to a life of integrity, where inner beauty and faith are prioritized. He invites us to connect to the spiritual lineage of Seth, not the cultural lineage of Adah. In doing so, we build a life that is truly meaningful and lasting. As a community, we need to reflect on our own values. Are we seeking outward perfection or the true essence that comes from a life aligned with God? This challenge leads us to a conclusion that invites us to reflect deeply on our priorities and the choice between a life of appearances and a life of spiritual substance. We conclude this journey through Adah's life with a powerful lesson. A life focused solely on outward ornamentation is unsustainable. Adah, with her name that evokes beauty, shows us the dangers of valuing appearance over essence. But there is hope. God offers us an identity rooted in Him, where true beauty comes from within. You, the viewer, have the power to transform your life. Don't let the temptations of the modern world lead you to an empty life. Be an active part of that transformation. Comment substance if you commit to seeking genuine faith over appearance. Share in the comments an area of your life where you feel tempted to prioritize image. Ask for prayer. Be honest. Let's support each other on this journey. Remember, in Christ, we find our true value, not in how we are adorned, but in whose image we have been recreated. May God bless each of you with a life of deep meaning, where true inner beauty shines and inspires everyone around you. May the grace and peace of God be with you.